Let me begin with a simple question. Have you ever noticed that the strongest roots of a tree are never visible, yet they hold the tallest branches against the fiercest storms? Let me begin with something very simple, yet very powerful. If you observe nature carefully, you will notice that the things which last the longest are not always the loudest or the most visible. The sun rises quietly, a seed grows silently, and yet their impact is immense. In the same way, a woman's true strength often works in silence. It does not demand attention, but it transforms everything it touches. From a very young age, women are taught to prove themselves, prove that they are capable, prove that they are strong, prove that they can manage everything perfectly. Slowly, without realizing it, many begin to believe that strength means never falling, never feeling tired, and never showing vulnerability. But real strength is not about pretending to be unbreakable. Real strength is about standing again, even when the heart feels heavy. A woman feels deeply, and that depth is a gift. When she feels pain, she learns compassion. When she experiences disappointment, she develops wisdom. When she faces loss, she discovers resilience. Emotional awareness is not weakness, it is intelligence of the heart. A woman's ability to understand emotions, her own and others, gives her the power to heal relationships, build families, and influence society in ways that force never can. Life will challenge her again and again. There will be moments when her efforts go unnoticed, when her sacrifices are taken for granted, and when her silence is misunderstood as acceptance. Yet she continues, not because she has no choice, but because she carries values within her. She chooses patience over anger, dignity over argument, and peace over ego. This quiet choice, made repeatedly, is a form of strength that cannot be taught in books. A turning point comes when a woman realizes that her worth does not depend on approval. The moment she respects her own time, her energy, and her boundaries, something shifts. She stops shrinking to fit into expectations and starts standing in her truth. Self-respect becomes her foundation, and from that foundation rises confidence that does not need validation. It is also important to understand that kindness is not fragility. A soft heart does not mean a weak spine. A woman can be gentle in her words and firm in her decisions. She can forgive without forgetting lessons. She can love deeply without losing herself. This balance of softness and strength is rare, and that rarity is her power. In the end, a woman's true strength is not about winning battles outside. It is about mastering the world within. When she is anchored in values, guided by wisdom, and connected to her inner peace, she becomes unstoppable. She does not chase respect. She earns it through her presence. She does not seek power. She radiates it. And when a woman understands this truth, she doesn't try to become strong. She simply allows her true strength to shine. If you look carefully at life, you will notice that the greatest transformations do not happen overnight. They happen slowly, patiently, and with great consistency. In the same way, a woman's true strength is not something dramatic or sudden. It is built quietly, through countless unseen moments where she chooses courage over comfort and wisdom over impulse. A woman carries many roles in her life. She gives, she supports, she listens, and she holds others together even when she herself feels tired. Often, the world celebrates the results but forgets the effort behind them. Yet she continues, not for applause, but because her heart is anchored in responsibility and care. This ability to keep moving forward despite exhaustion is not weakness. It is resilience in its purest form. Many misunderstand strength as being fearless. But courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. A woman feels fear, doubt, and uncertainty, but she does not let them define her. She learns from her experiences. Each setback becomes a lesson, and each lesson becomes wisdom. Over time, this wisdom shapes her into someone who responds thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. There is also immense power in a woman's emotional awareness. She can sense what words cannot express. She understands silence, reads between lines, and feels energies that others overlook. This sensitivity is often mistaken for vulnerability, but in reality, it is an advanced form of strength. It allows her to build deeper connections, resolve conflicts with compassion, and create environments where others feel safe to grow. At some point in her journey, a woman realizes that she cannot pour from an empty cup. She begins to honor herself. She understands that saying no is not selfish and resting is not laziness. She learns that boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to healthier relationships. When she respects herself, she teaches the world how to treat her. This self-respect becomes her silent power. A woman's kindness is another misunderstood strength. Kindness does not mean tolerating disrespect. It means choosing grace without compromising self-worth. She can be gentle yet firm, forgiving yet aware, loving yet grounded. This balance takes great inner strength because it requires self-control and emotional maturity. Life will test her again and again. There will be moments when she feels invisible, unheard, or undervalued. But each challenge refines her character. Like gold purified in fire, she emerges stronger, wiser, and more centered. She stops chasing validation and starts trusting her inner voice. That inner voice becomes her guide, reminding her of who she is and what she stands for. In the end, a woman's true strength lies in her inner stability. When she is calm within, the chaos outside loses its power over her. She does not need to compete, prove, or compare. She walks her path with quiet confidence, knowing that her worth is inherent. And when a woman lives from this understanding, she becomes a source of strength not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Sometimes life teaches its most important lessons not through success, but through silence. There are phases when a woman gives her best and still feels unseen, unheard, or unappreciated. In those moments, it is easy to doubt oneself. But those very moments are shaping her inner strength, slowly and deeply, like a river carving its way through rock. A woman's journey is not about becoming louder to be noticed. It is about becoming clearer within. She carries emotions with depth, and that depth allows her to understand life beyond the surface. When she feels pain, she does not merely endure it, she reflects on it. Reflection turns experience into wisdom, and wisdom becomes her greatest strength. This inner growth often goes unnoticed, but it defines who she becomes. Strength is often mistaken for control, but real strength lies in self-mastery. A woman learns over time that reacting immediately does not always bring peace. She learns to pause, to breathe, and to respond with awareness. This ability to stay centered during emotional storms is not accidental. It is cultivated through patience and self-awareness. Each time she chooses calm over chaos, she becomes stronger from within. There is a quiet dignity in the way a woman holds herself together during difficult times. Even when her heart feels heavy, she continues to show up for her responsibilities. She supports others while silently managing her own struggles. This does not mean she does not need support. It means she has a deep sense of commitment and compassion. Such strength is not visible, but it is powerful. As she grows, a woman begins to understand the importance of honoring herself. She realizes that self-respect is not built by pleasing everyone, but by staying true to her values. She learns to set boundaries not out of anger, but out of self-care. These boundaries protect her energy and allow her to give from a place of fullness rather than exhaustion. A woman's softness is often misunderstood. Softness does not mean surrendering one's power. In fact, it takes great strength to remain kind in a harsh world, to choose empathy when bitterness feels easier, to forgive when holding on to resentment seems justified. Softness guided by wisdom becomes a force that heals and uplifts. Life will continue to test her patience, her faith, and her resolve. There will be days when she feels like giving up, but each time she chooses to move forward, she strengthens her inner foundation. Slowly, she stops measuring herself by external standards. She begins to trust her intuition, her timing, and her journey. In the end, a woman's true strength lies in her inner alignment. When her thoughts, values, and actions are in harmony, she becomes steady and grounded. She no longer needs validation to feel worthy. She understands that her presence itself carries impact. And when a woman lives from this understanding, she becomes a quiet inspiration, not by what she says, but by how she lives. There is a quiet power in a woman who understands herself. It is not a power that seeks attention or demands recognition. It is the power that comes from inner clarity. When a woman knows who she is and what she stands for, she no longer feels the need to prove herself to the world. Her presence alone speaks volumes. Life places many expectations on a woman. She is expected to be strong, yet gentle, independent, yet accommodating, ambitious, yet available for everyone. Carrying these expectations can feel overwhelming, but over time she learns an important lesson. She cannot live her life trying to meet every expectation. True strength begins the moment she chooses authenticity over approval. A woman's mind is naturally reflective. She thinks deeply, feels intensely, and remembers strongly. These qualities are often labeled as overthinking or emotional, but in reality, they are signs of awareness. Awareness allows her to understand consequences before actions, emotions before words, and people beyond appearances. This depth of perception becomes one of her greatest strengths. Challenges play a crucial role in shaping her. Every setback teaches her patience. Every disappointment teaches her detachment. Every failure teaches her humility. She does not emerge from struggles bitter, she emerges wiser. Slowly, she learns that pain is not meant to destroy her, but to refine her character. Through this understanding, she develops resilience that is calm and steady. There comes a phase in a woman's life when she realizes that her energy is precious. She cannot give it to everyone and everything. She learns the art of choosing where to invest her time, her emotions, and her efforts. This discernment is not selfishness, it is self-respect. When she values herself, she creates space for healthier relationships and meaningful growth. A woman's compassion is another form of strength. She listens without judgment and supports without conditions. However, true compassion also includes oneself. She learns that being kind to herself is just as important as being kind to others. Rest becomes a necessity, not a luxury. Silence becomes a source of clarity, not emptiness. Softness remains an integral part of her strength. It takes courage to remain gentle in a world that often rewards hardness. Her softness allows her to connect deeply, to nurture growth, and to inspire trust. At the same time, she learns to be firm when needed. This balance between gentleness and firmness is the mark of emotional maturity. Over time, she stops comparing her journey with others. She understands that each person has a different pace and purpose. This acceptance brings inner peace. She no longer chases validation or fears judgment. Instead, she focuses on alignment between her thoughts, words, and actions. In the end, a woman's true strength is her inner stability. When she is grounded within, external chaos loses its influence over her. She moves through life with grace, guided by values and wisdom, and without trying to be extraordinary. She becomes someone who quietly inspires others simply by being true to herself. There is something deeply powerful about a woman who has learned to sit with herself in silence. In that silence, she understands her fears, her hopes, and her truths. She no longer runs away from discomfort, she listens to it. This ability to pause, reflect, and respond with awareness becomes the foundation of her strength. From the outside, people often measure strength by achievements, titles, or recognition. But a woman knows that real strength is built in moments when no one is watching. It is built when she chooses patience over panic, honesty over convenience, and integrity over shortcuts. These choices may seem small, but over time they shape her character and define her life. A woman's heart is capable of holding great love, but also great responsibility. She often carries emotional weight not just for herself, but for those around her. She listens, understands, and supports, even when she is struggling within. This does not mean she is invincible. It means she has learned how to move forward despite vulnerability. Vulnerability, when embraced with wisdom, becomes a source of courage rather than weakness. Life will challenge her beliefs and test her faith. There will be moments when her efforts are misunderstood and her intentions questioned. During such times, she learns an important lesson. She cannot control how others perceive her, but she can control how she responds. This realization brings freedom. She stops seeking validation from the outside and starts trusting her inner compass. As she grows, she begins to respect her own journey. She understands that growth is not linear. Some days she feels confident, and some days she feels uncertain. Both are part of the process. Instead of judging herself harshly, she learns to be patient with her progress. This self-compassion allows her to keep moving forward without losing her sense of peace. A woman's strength is also reflected in her ability to let go. She learns that holding on to resentment only drains her energy. Forgiveness becomes a gift she gives herself, not an excuse for others' behavior. By releasing what no longer serves her, she creates space for clarity and growth. Her kindness remains intact, but it becomes guided by wisdom. She no longer overextends herself to please others. She understands that being available to everyone can lead to being absent from herself. With maturity, she learns to balance giving with grounding. This balance protects her emotional well-being. Over time, a woman becomes comfortable in her own skin. She no longer feels the need to compete or compare. She appreciates her strengths and accepts her imperfections. This acceptance brings quiet confidence. It is not loud or attention-seeking, but it is deeply rooted. In the end, a woman's true strength lies in her inner alignment. When her thoughts, emotions, and actions move in the same direction, she becomes steady and resilient. Life may still present challenges, but she faces them with grace. And in doing so, she becomes a living example of strength that is calm, compassionate, and enduring. So remember this: your strength is not in proving, it is in becoming, not in competing, but in being complete. You are strong, not because the world didn't try to break you, but because you chose growth over grief, faith over fear, and wisdom over worry. Walk gently, stand firmly, and trust deeply. Because when a woman knows her true strength, she doesn't chase the world. The world finds its way to her. Thank you.